the voters who are speaking out on high prices in this economy. And that's just what they're going through. Then there's the wealth gap. Tech boom, Wall Street bull market raging on. And this gap is not just about political messaging. In fact, if there were no elections on Tuesday and none of this had taken flight in sort of the public debate, income inequality would still be surging, driven both by the stock market gains and choices in U.S. law and regulation, which currently reward the wealthy far more than most democracies do. And that's something that lawmakers can decide on. In the U.S. right now, the richest people are richer than ever, literally. That's not rhetoric. That's what's happened in the year 2025 because the richest own far more stock than everybody else. And those richest people are smashing records this year, as you can see, for the top 1%. Now, back in the Reagan era, we talked about millionaires. That was the big rich milestone. Tonight, I can tell you that in a sign of capitalism in some kind of overdrive, the controversial new Tesla payment plan puts Elon Musk on a path to become the world's first trillionaire, with a T. The company just voted for a plan for a potential payout that, if he meets certain marks, would be the largest ever granted to any single person. Keep in mind that Tesla, which has been lauded as a good company in certain ways, well, they pay the regular workers about $50,000 a year. This kind of wealth makes Musk more rich and powerful than entire countries. If he hits the mark, $1 trillion is larger than the whole economy, GDP of Poland or of Argentina or of Sweden. I mean, it's wild. There's very few ways we can really try to use words to encapsulate what it means for Tesla to tell Elon Musk he can become a trillionaire. Here's how he reacted to the vote from his company stockholders.
Thanks, guys. First of all, I'd like to just give a heartfelt thanks to everyone who supported the shareholder votes. I super appreciate it.
He super appreciates it. Now, this is happening, and again, we sometimes are so focused in news and political news on the elections and then what's driving them, but all of this is happening anyway. It's happening even if Elon Musk was not Donald Trump's buddy, even if he didn't take a rightward turn. This is the macro economy. And so while you have a political conversation about messaging, affordability, and ideology, and some saying, well, Democrats shouldn't go too far left and all that, and there's nuance in all of that because not every city or country is going to tax the same way. But the wider thing going on very clearly are these unprecedented rewards for the ultra-rich at the expense of others. And that's in the face of what regular people went through in the COVID economy, the new risk of AI to their jobs, to some people in line for food this year. So all of this cuts deeper than just an ad campaign or poster about affordability, which has become an important thing and also a political buzzword. Indeed, it has stoked a revolt which has now come to the nation's financial capital, the home of Wall Street, New York City. And remember, many people come to New York City precisely to make it in a capitalist town. It is not just some cliche of a Berkeley burnouts at the coffee shop. These are ambitious young people who come here, and some of them stay. People who tend to enjoy making and spending money. They are not the sort of first obvious place to pitch a democratic socialist campaign unless they've been going through what I just told you about. And now they've turned to a young democratic socialist who was literally unknown in the city a year ago. When Zoran Mamdani faces pushback on taxing millionaires, he insists they can still afford just 2% more, as he told us in our election eve interview.
I continue to think that having the top 1% of New York City, who are making more than $1 million a year, having them pay 2% more for an economic agenda that would transform every New Yorker's life, including their own, is something that is worthwhile.
Back with Molly, we turn to that because it's so much broader than any one election. Minting trillionaires and this level of inequality is actually not something we've ever lived through.
No. I mean, it's the closest to the Gilded Age, right? It's closest to that period. But we've never had someone like Elon Musk go into the government, become a special government employee, practice reverse philanthropy with money that was taxpayer dollars, moving it around, right? Canceling NIH grants, doing the kind of stuff that is not, the job of Congress and not of the executive branch to begin with. And to get that job because you are a presidential donor is completely unprecedented. So, yes, there's a lot of politics in this, and also there's a lot of betrayal, of the Republican base, too.
And the trillion is it's hard to get your head around. We have what $1 trillion buys. Over 30 million Camrys, think about it that way, billion iPhones, or 189 billion Big Macs. And McDonald's famously they track how many they sell. They have those old signs, remember? Billions and billions served. Against the backdrop of, say, a company like Amazon, which, like Tesla, has done well. They have the so-called top 7 tech stocks. And they say, well, this creates wealth for everybody. And sometimes it does. The stock market is a great thing for a lot of people's retirement if they can afford to be in it. But here's the Amazon headline. They're now targeting 30,000 job cuts. If they go forward after the recent 14,000, these could be the largest layoffs in history. So it's hard to sort of see why the tech boom is supposed to work for everyone if it doesn't even help the people working at Amazon.
Well, and I don't think it is supposed to work for everyone. And Mamdani is really a response, right? This is a candidate who was a very good candidate, who ran really well, but he also was able to message on affordability, just like Spanberger, just like Cheryl. He was like laser focused. I remember watching him in the polls. Someone came and said, well, a journalist said, well, Donald Trump says he's handsomer than you are. And he was like, I'm laser focused on affordability. And honestly, that's because there is a big sentiment in this country that it is not fair, that that completely unfettered and unchecked capitalism is not the move anymore. And in fact, Mamdani put Lina Khan in his cabinet, and Lina Khan is one of the sort of great thinkers when it comes to antitrust. And her whole gestalt is this belief that capitalism needs some guardrails, that we have to have some kinds of rules, a little bit. We're not saying socialism. We're just saying that, there needs to be progressive taxation, and there needs to be, this is a country where there needs to be some help for people who have less.